welcome to the Personalities of the Tarot podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth Seer, and this is Season 2, Episode 23, and this is for March 20th, 2024. And it's Aries time. Aries time and spring is springing. It's the Spring Equinox and the time of the Emperor, which is the first major arcana symbol to be associated with astrology, along with Two of Wands. So we're still under the reign of the Queen of Wands and now in Aries, the first sign. And it's a great time for manifesting through courage, determination, and discipline. I'll dig into that a bit more, along with the equinox and full moon, and as always, the fun list of birthdays of the famous or infamous. So do that thing you do. Sit back and chill in your favorite space, take a drive, or pop in your headphones and go for a walk while we get into the energy that we're all working with now. And even if you don't know an Aries, you can still pick up some quick tips on how to glide through this period with ease and grace, or just learn some cool trivia with the celebrity birthday section. Gotta love a full moon, releasing those things which have come to fullness in your life. The next full moon is March 25th, and it's the worm moon. Keep in mind, the popular full moon names that we all hear about each month are published in the annual Farmer's Almanac. And according to the publication, the full moon names used by the Old Farmer's Almanac come from a number of places, including Native American, Colonial American, and European sources. Traditionally, each full moon name was applied to the entire lunar month in which it occurred, not only at the full moon. It's so-called the worm moon because historically, certain worms or larvae appear after the thaw of winter. And of course, there are many other names depending on culture or group, including the Lenten moon. By the way, this year, the March full moon is also the Paschal moon. It's an ecclesiastical descriptor for the full moon arriving after the spring equinox. Aries is considered the first sign in the modern Western zodiac because it begins with the spring equinox. This year, the equinox is exact at 11:06 p.m. Eastern on March 19th. I'm recording that right now. Spring equinox is also known as the vernal equinox, and vernal translates to new or fresh. And as we know, of course, equinox comes from the Latin words for equal and night. Our daylight hours have been growing a bit longer each day since the winter solstice. That's, of course, the longest night in December. So now, at the equinox, if you were at the equator, you would experience equal daylight and nighttime, give or take a few minutes. Going forward from now, the sun migrates north of the equator, and we feel the daylight hours growing longer. When we get to the solstice in June, the longest day and the quote-unquote official start of summer, daylight hours will slowly get shorter until we get to the next equal day, equal night around my birthday in September, which is the official start of fall or autumn. Spiritually speaking, equinoxes are great for reflecting on the balance in our own lives. Of course, being spring and the start of a new year, astrologically speaking, it's a time for rebirth after the darkness of winter. It's an energetic time for awakening. Plant some seeds and tend your garden. And I mean that both figuratively and physically. You can actually plant some seeds to harvest later. However, if you are in Phoenix, like I am, you should have started that about a month or so ago. But seriously, plant some seeds in your life. In my case, I've avoided my physical health for a few years. I realize it's time because I'm just no longer comfortable in my body. I took a long walk last night and tonight, and I woke this morning just really feeling like it's time to take some steps in the right direction for my health and well-being. And I feel really energized right now to do this, where I wasn't feeling that earlier this year. So think about what you'd like to harvest and enjoy later this year. Just a reminder, I'm a highly rated tarot and psychic reader. I have 5 stars on Google, Fiverr, Groupon, Fresha, and I think even Yelp. If you're interested in getting a reading, but maybe you didn't know how to go about finding a psychic for you, check out my site at elizabethseer.com. I have posts about my work and personal experiences, and even something about psychic scammers who give us all a bad name. I have video meditations and links to a few products I created to help out if you're also spiritually curious, like me. You can only book a reading with me through my team at chickswithspiritualgifts.com or my personal site, elizabethseer.com. As I said earlier, we're now in the time of Aries and the Emperor, March 20th to, let's say March 20th or 19th or 21st, depending on the given year, through April 20th or 19th or 21st. In this case, in 2024, it's late at night on March 19th, as I spoke of earlier when talking about the equinox. I believe it was 11:06. So in general, the Emperor represents father figure, leader, guardian, establishing rules, guidance, discipline. So of course, it makes sense that during the time of the Emperor and Aries, which is ruled by powerfully energetic Mars, it's a great time to create discipline in your own life, create structure and stabilize things. In my case, it feels like I finally have the discipline and the ability to exert control over what I'm putting down my gullet and how I'm burning off energy. For you, this could be a time to step up and take command, managing something or somehow taking on a leadership role. You may just be managing yourself or your household, creating more structure now, or it could be on a grander scale through work, school, or your social circle. For those born during Aries, you're likely highly energetic and may have natural leadership qualities, whether you put them to use or not. In your group, whether personal or professional, you may be the person people look to for protection or as the example of what they need to do in their lives. The shadow side of Aries can show up in rebelliousness, attempts to overly control things, and you might even have daddy issues with your own father or you as a father figure. You might end up being the example of what not to do. It's always a good idea to set limits when there are goals to be achieved, and we have to remember that rules and stability are not negative when reaching for success. So for everyone during the time of the Emperor, you're being asked to make wise decisions, create structure, follow some rules or schedules for success. It's time to focus and act. Those born in the first decan of Aries, roughly March 19th, 20th through the 30th or so, are ruled by the Queen of Wands. You can check out the last episode for some really deep insight into your personality if you were born under the Queen of Wands. This period is also the Emperor, of whom I just spoke, and the Two of Wands. The person born with Two of Wands energy is usually confident, and they truly understand their own ambitions, for bad or good. To get what they want, they seem to inherently know how to get from point A to point B and everything in between. Keywords I use for this card are dominion, being in charge of one's immediate surroundings or domain, ambition, boldness, and balancing energy, passion for something and the discipline to get it. They usually come across as having a strong and healthy self-esteem, even if they're faking it. This early Aries personality likes to be in charge of their life path, even if the rest of us are watching them drive right off a cliff. Risk-taking can be viewed as both the positive and the shadow side of their personality. When they're showing their shadow side, they can be obnoxious, the loudest person in the room saying absolutely nothing and taking risks that don't make sense. But when they really put their head in the game to get something done, by golly, they do it. Aries are really some of the best manifestors out there. For everyone of all signs during this time of the first 10 degrees of Aries, it's an awesome opportunity to balance your world by taking charge of what you can control. This can lead to your desired outcome. It's time to be courageous. Remember, you are the master of your life. Be disciplined with your dreams and desires. Command attention and gain respect, but like I always say, by being respectful. It's an opportune time to activate your passion for adventure and make bold choices to expand your horizons as you seize your destiny. Are you spiritually curious? I've created some divination tools which might help you on your spiritual divination journey, including my Seer's Casting Tarot, released last year. I am truly enjoying working with the 78 symbols on discs, and I really can't say enough about how thrilled I am with the casting board. This is a new way to enjoy an old divination tool. Links for my divination sets and more are at my website, elizabethseer.com. It's famous birthday time! Here's my random list of famous or infamous early Aries characters and celebrities born March 20th through the 30th. Those on the list were born with the energy of the Emperor, Two of Wands, and the Queen of Wands. They're a fiery bunch with incredible passion and potential. As always, this list does not mean I agree or disagree with a person's words or life choices. It's simply to educate on the early Aries personality, giving you the opportunity to compare public personas with their tarot and astrological correlations, for bad or good. Spike Lee, Holly Hunter, Michael Rappaport, Ruby Rose, Carl Reiner, NBA championship coach Pat Riley, Chester Bennington, one of my favorite actors, Gary Oldman. He can go from playing Sid Vicious to Beethoven to Captain Zorg. Matthew Broderick and his wife, Sarah Jessica Parker. Rosie O'Donnell. Keyboardist Rose Stone of Sly and the Family Stone. William Shatner. The very talented actor and funny man, Keegan-Michael Key. Reese Witherspoon. Constance Wu. Chico Marx. Composers Stephen Sondheim and Andrew Lloyd Webber, Chaka Khan, Randall Park, Amanda Plummer, Captain William Kidd, once a successful privateer but hanged for piracy and murder in 1701. Interesting story. But you'll have to look it up. Back to our list. Jessica Chastain, Jim Parsons, Allison Hannigan. I cannot believe I think she's around 50 now, somebody said. I just rewatched the Buffy series a couple of years ago, so it doesn't feel like she should be around 50. Peyton Manning, Lake Bell, Jack Ruby, Gloria Steinem, Chris Redd, Ryan Lewis, Big Sean, Martin Short, Michael Imperioli, Kenny Chesney, Leslie Mann, Keira Knightley, Robert Frost, Tennessee Williams, Leonard Nimoy, first female Supreme Court Justice, and from my home state, Sandra Day O'Connor, James Iha, Jaquan, Quentin Tarantino, Nathan Fillion, Halle Bailey, Vince Vaughn, Julia Stiles, Reverend Bernice King, MLK's daughter, Perry Farrell, Vincent van Gogh, Elle Macpherson, founder of rural supercenters and multi-billion-dollar dynasty, Sam Walton, MC Hammer, Steven Tyler, and Sir Elton John. But check out the number of incredible award-winning songstresses on this list. Aretha Franklin, Diana Ross, Reba McEntire, Norah Jones, Tracy Chapman, Mariah Carey, Lady Gaga, and Celine Dion. I got to thinking about it, and it's good to know that making babies 10 to 15 days or so after the summer solstice can make for sweet, sweet melodies later. I'll be back around March 31st to talk about mid-Aries and Three of Wands energy. It's a time for cheering each other on. We can also talk about the solar eclipse coming up April 8th and Mercury retrograde, which you're likely going to begin feeling around that full moon this month, March 25th, through April. Don't forget, you lose nothing in being kind and respectful. Be what you wish to see in this world. You want to see more love and respect? Be loving and respectful to the earth and all of her inhabitants. Draw it to you by being more loving and respectful to yourself and those within your immediate sphere of influence. Love and respect still need to matter in this world, so be what you wish to see and help it grow. Don't forget that it's time to act while we're in Aries and spring is springing. It's good to be going for what you want. This likely means creating some rules or structures in your life which can have lasting positive effects on you and your world. Be disciplined and don't be too hard on yourself or others. You've been listening to Elizabeth Seer, and I'm grateful for this time with you.